Well, actor turned politician Vijay has not just entered Tamil Nadu politics, he has dominated it, turning what was expected to be a cautious debut into a wave that has left the state's traditional giants staring in disbelief at the scoreboard. Well, the numbers rolling in from the counting centers have transformed TVK from a supposed disruptor into the dominant player around which the future of Dravidian politics will now have to be reorganized. The sheer scale and spread of TVK's performance have stunned veterans and psephologists alike, shredding pre-poll assumptions that Vijay's party would at best nibble at the margins of the Dravidian duopoly. For a party formally registered only recently and contesting its first ever assembly election, the message from the ground is very clear. The electorate has not merely noticed Vijay, it has handed him the real clout. And at the heart of this political earthquake lies a question which everyone wants an answer to. What exactly worked for Vijay and TVK, turning fan frenzy into formidable electoral machine and shock into dominance? Well, here are the top 5 factors. For years, Vijay's on-screen persona has been that of righteous crusader who rises against corrupt system and arrogant power. And it seems like that very image has clearly bled into the political arena. Massive crowd at his rallies and roadshows signaled that Thalapathy aura was not confined to cinema halls but has morphed into a political identity people were ready to vote for. But also we need to remember that this was not an overnight phenomenon. It was built on long-running fan ecosystem that Vijay gradually reoriented towards social and political work through his multiple welfare organizations. And when TVK finally appeared on the ballot, that ecosystem offered a ready-made network of booth-level workers, influencers, and most importantly, hyper-local supporters capable of converting admiration into votes. Now, if one thing that defined this election was the relentless young voters who seemed to be logged out of opportunity and unheard by the old order. In fact, reports from across the state spoke of sea after sea of young faces following Vijay's convoy, waiting for hours just to get a glimpse of the man they now call leader and not just a star. And TVK's messaging was sharply turned to this very demographic: jobs, education loans, exam stress, and a broader promise of career dignity in a system long accused of favoritism. Social media campaigns, campus-level outreach, and language of aspiration rather than grievance turned first-time and young voters into the core engine of TVK's surge. Now, alongside the youth wave came a quieter but potent current: women, who saw in Vijay's platform a mix of safety, respect, and economic support. In fact, TVK foregrounded women's empowerment, education, and welfare in its rhetoric, making repeated references to justice, protection from harassment, and most importantly, relief from everyday economic strain. Now, ground reports point to cues of women at booth in urban and semi-urban belts who spoke of Vijay as someone who speak our pain and will not treat them as mere welfare beneficiaries but as citizens with agency. The unusual charged participation of women voters, which Vijay himself praised as redefining election politics, clearly amplified the TVK wave and helped convert enthusiasm into unexpected gains. Now, this election seems like was never just about one man's charisma, but about a referendum on fatigue with the familiar script of Tamil Nadu politics. Anger over corruption, perceived arrogance of power, stagnation in governance, and the sense that politics had become a closed club created fertile soil for a party that promised to reset the rules. In fact, TVK's campaign drilled relentlessly into themes of clean governance, transparency, social justice, and a politics beyond the usual caste and religious binary that have long structured electoral mobilization in the state. By positioning himself as an outsider to the entrenched political class, yet deeply rooted in Tamil identity and social justice traditions, Vijay managed to tap into both protest voters and aspirational voters' drive to choosing the lesser evil. Now, behind the drama of results lays tedious methodical preparation, restructured fan clubs, booth mapping, welfare activities, and lessons learned from the local body elections where Vijay's network had already tested the waters. Well, that experience gave TVK a base of organizers who knew how to knock on doors, manage polling day logistics, and defend votes on the ground, a critical advantage for any debutant party. Now, equally important was symbolism. The whistle as party symbol, the disciplined color palette, and Vijay's carefully calibrated public appearances created a recognizable brand that cut across multiple regions. By choosing to contest alone and publicly ruling out alliance, even as trends turned spectacularly in his favor, Vijay doubled down on the narrative that TVK was not a bargaining chip, but a force-seeking mandate in its own right. That solo gamble, combined with an emotive promise of change and a meticulously nurtured fan-to-cadre pipeline, explains why the final tally boards have left veterans shocked and capitulated TVK and Vijay to the center of Tamil Nadu's political story. Well, the numbers may be doing the talking inside counting halls, but out on the streets, it is clear that a new protagonist has walked onto the political stage, and the script of the stage's future will now have to be rewritten around him.